welcome to Swing for Four, your nerdy weekly-ish podcast featuring four friends. We talk about random topics as well as sometimes topical topics. I am Michael Ferrier at MF Parade on Twitter. I'm mostly into video games, a little bit of comic stuff, and romance novels. I'm joined by Bob Globe.
Hey, wait! We can't pass up that romance novels.
We can go into that. We can go into that later. But
oh my God! Wait, you can't drop that and expect me to do a good intro. Come on, man. So my name is Bob Globe. You can find me at deacolink9090@gmail.com, and my interests are primarily Warhammer, any sort of Blizzard game, and just generally Lord of the Rings based fantasy. And then we'll kick it right over to my friend Tyler.
I'm Tyler Hilchey. Let me just say, I love the fact that Mike was like, "Here's my Twitter handle. Like this is kind of like my social media presence."
Yeah.
And then Bob kind of comes in with the Gmail.
Well, the thing is that if people want to send me emails, that makes me feel special.
Sure. No, I get it. I'm Tyler Hilchey. I have some social media presence that I'm not necessarily going to share because I never check it, so it doesn't matter. I kind of fall under the wheelhouse of I don't know a lot about one thing, but I know a little bit about a lot of things. So like I kind of, my range kind of falls under, tabletop gaming, paper RPGs, video games, comic books, in anything really. I can generally find any kind of interest in pretty much anything. And I am also joined by our fourth friend, Mr. J Bones Josh Cleve.
Hey everybody, it's Josh Cleaves. You can find me at King Cleavage 89 on PlayStation Network because I wasn't aware that we need to have Twitter handles now. My interest.
We do not have to, Josh. I'm choosing to.
No, Mike Knight, you put in Twitter, so now we all have to have Twitter.
Oh, I did it in the last episode.
I'm going for King Cleavage for my Twitter handle too.
Nice.
It is such a royal title. I like it. That's the best.
Let's see. Interests as far as nerd and pop culture. Always been a big fan of Star Wars, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer. Pretty much any kind of fantasy sci-fi novel. Really big on those. I probably go through a 40-hour book in a month. But yeah, I'd probably be your sci-fi guy. That'd be where I go. A little bit of comic books, but not nearly as learned as the other gentlemen in this room.
Well, thank you.
Learned. I like that.
That was very good, guys. For our first topic, I'm going to go, how about we throw it to Bob?
Okay, so I was thinking this week, phenomenal stuff, really. And I had a few thoughts that crossed my mind. The first one that I wanted to ask you guys is in, not necessarily even the MCU or DC, but the first superhero that you were like, that is my guy / girl, whatever you were attracted to. And was it like a slow grow? Was it just like rising up to it? Or was there one moment where you're like, nope, sold 100%? Like that's my ride or die right there.
So, but Bob, to be clear, you mean that we were attracted to?
No, physically. Well, hey, if you want to go that way, no.
All power to you.
Well, I mean, it kind of sounded like that's what you were saying. I just wanted clarification because this was really close to what.
Really?
We're all going to talk about our fantasy crap.
The thing is,
No. Mine was more about what kind of led me into fandom.
Yeah. Then you know what? Let's span it out. So I went to school for psychology, so that's kind of like the way that I think, along with big doses of philosophy and sociology. And I was thinking about it of the same thing. So erase your love of character, and just when was that time in your life where you went from just being a normal kid to then just nope, like, yeah, I'm a nerd. That's it. Like this is, or I'm a geek. That's it. Like this is how we're gonna ride. I'm just gonna be super hype about like these certain topics, and then we can kind of go into it. Because for me, I think it was a slow grow. Like I watched some anime, like I watched like DBZ and stuff like that. And I played some video games, but the thing is, video games now, that's not even really that geek. Like everyone plays video games.
No,
and
so mainstream.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is.
I know.
So, but like as far as like the first thing that really bent me hard was Warhammer, and then like shortly after Magic the Gathering. But and I remember that. Like it was the same time that I started reading Warhammer and like playing. Well, I didn't even play the game for quite a while, but like I would just look at the 6th ed rule book and be like, "Well, this is the realness right here. I'm mainlining right now. This is crazy," and that was like around 7th grade. But until that point, I think I was just dabbling in the geekery. So my question to you guys is, what was your experience to then just becoming a full-fledged geek?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
I mean, Hutchie was born. Hutchie was born. He was just like, yep. Slap that Cooper hat on me.
I had like, for me, I mean, there was a bunch of different things. Like I remember, like my earliest memories, like kind of being that, like, I remember my parents had an NES, and I remember when I was really little, like playing that and be like, "Oh, this is awesome!" Like I was awful at it. Like I think I just enjoyed the idea of like moving a character around, and that was really enjoyable to me. But I think the thing that really got me into it, like into just the culture itself, was I'd say it's an even split between Magic and D&D. I remember Magic. My cousin played Magic, and he had introduced it to me. And like once he like showed me how to play a couple games, like I was hooked. But during that same time, my uncle, he used to be like an avid D&D player, and he kind of introduced us to like, oh well, this is how you play it. Like, and we played a couple sessions with him, and I like at that point was just like, this is awesome. Like just that idea of like just like a fantasy world has always been super appealing to me. But just having not only like being like reading about it, but also just like being a part of it. So like if you make a like in D&D, like having a character that you've created and putting, you know, like this is how this character would act when like in this kind of situation. Like
bring it into life.
Yeah, I mean, and I had like debatable, but like I can't remember what edition this was, but the party was kind of made, and I was the last person, and like he was kind of like my uncle was kind of showing it, like, oh, this is how you make a character. Like we should probably be smart about like what roles we have, and so I was the last person. And then he was like, well, why don't you be a cleric and you can be kind of our healer. And I played, but I had no interest in that. That's just never been anything that I've been interested in. I've always been like the half-orc and like running into just the middle of the battle and just swinging, you know, a giant axe around or a giant or whatever. But yeah, I'd say, you know, it's probably around one of those things, you know.
Yeah. What age was that? Like mine, it was specifically like, I think 7th grade.
Oh, I'd probably say like 5th or 6th grade, somewhere around there. I know it was super young. Magic came well before, well, not well before, but enough before D&D, and I was more frequent. But I think with D&D, like it just definitely hit me harder, and I was just like, oh wow, role playing games are super fun. Like I love doing this. Like granted, the first time I did it, like I did not take it seriously whatsoever. Like I was just like this asshole cleric. Who just like would just cracking jokes as much as possible, like to the point where our DM was like we can just stop if you guys don't want to play. Like if you're not going to, I was like, well, that's part of the fun. Like like there's a point, like there's a time and place. Like I'm not going to be a jerk and like just be like that the entire time. Like especially if it's like a pre-made story. Like that, I tend to be a little bit kind kind of off character, just because like there's a written thing, like some like the DM is kind of going through the book, but if it's a homebrew and they've taken their time to really like write this really cool story and try to immerse you as much as possible, I tend to take those a little bit more serious, only because that person put a lot of time into it, and I don't want to like go in and be like, I'm turning this into a mockery. It's more of I really appreciate you doing like you putting time and effort into this. Like I me now.
Is this you confessing that you love GMs?
I love GMing. Like I've had we've been playing Soulbound a lot, and I just kind of have fun doing that. I love playing those characters, but I also love telling the story. This is going on in this world, and this is how you guys are going to interact with it. And sometimes you guys don't interact the way that I want you to, and that's fine. Sometimes it's a matter of me kind of thinking on my feet and saying, like, how am I going to get them to do this? And sometimes it's like, okay, I'm just going to scrap that, and we're going to go down a whole new road. And I just think that's super fascinating.
Okay. Well, then I'll have to ask Mike next, his journey, because I remember I met Tyler before Mike, and Tyler would say, like, you got to meet Mike. You got to. He was like, he was kind of like he was Gandalf and Mike was Saruman, and like I remember the first time going over to your house, I was like, oh my God, Mike Ferrier. Oh, this is crazy.
Mike Ferrier is us.
Exactly. So, Mike, what was your experience?
My journey is a little weird because I'm trying to keep the order. Right.
Are you saying time's not linear?
I mean, not for me. I'm not great at keeping the old memories. I'm not like I don't have a bad memory. I just like if you're like if that happened in 2002, I'll be like, I'll take your word for it. It's either I either started with comics or Star Wars. I think it was Star Wars. I got that. I don't know if I must have been into it to some degree as a kid, like a little kid, because I have a weird memory of watching a Empire Strikes Back off of a VHS that my dad recorded off like HBO or something, and then I remember I got that second edition, Everything You Need to Know About Star Wars book, and I read that thing like back to front, and then I know it eventually, like, 'cause I have a friend named Teddy, and he was into Star Trek where I was into Star Wars, and he invited me to go to a Star Trek convention. And, I mean, like any convention of us, like, I imagine, like, if you went to a Star Wars convention, there's going to be Star Trek stuff and vice versa, and fantasy stuff and whatnot. And I think that really opened up the whole world to me. But the other half of that coin is the like comic book and D&D stuff. I was not into that with Teddy. I think it really got into a guy I met because my parents ran a campground when I was a kid. So I would meet people from different places. And I met this kid, Chris, from Massachusetts, and he showed me comics. And I think it was like, I think at the time he was the Metropolis Kid, but Superman was my first introduction into comics. Even though I'm not really a big DC guy, that really got me started on that path. And then we would play D&D together. I think I'd heard about D&D earlier in my life because I think a friend's older brother played, but he wouldn't let me play. And of course that bummed me out. But I mean, I was just, all these older kids, they seem so cool. And it's hard to remember exactly how that path went down. Yeah. But I mean, I love this stuff. Yeah. I forgot to mention in the up top that I love Magic too. Even though I've been out of it for like a decade, I started playing again this year, or at least buying cards. I don't know much about playing yet, but I love all this stuff. I mean, even if it's a subject I don't entirely get, like I know a lot of you guys are into the models and the Warhammer and whatnot, and that stuff confounds the heck out of me. But to see the passion, it's great. And as you know, Bob, I'm very into romance.
What is that? I can't pass that up twice. You have to explain yourself. Drop a title. Like what are you reading that's romance?
I read tons of it. I'm looking at one of my bookshelves, and it's full of nerdy sci-fi stuff, or fantasy probably, and a ton of romance. I got into it kind of by accident. In college, the first time I went to college, but every time I've gone to college, it has been unsuccessful. First time we were doing some reading project or writing project, and the book, whatever we read, had some romantic element to it, and it stuck. I sought the stuff out. You know, I mean, I don't love it all. Some of it's, you know, not for me, obviously, but I like a lot. Are
you talking about like
I'll
written porn, like erotica?
I mean, I'll read a good erotica, but I mean, like, I'm not like a 50 Shades stuff. Nice. But you know, I've got a favorite author, and you know,
is it Tolkien? Tolkien?
Is it who? Tolkien is not.
No, I mean
author.
Your favorite romance author
genre. Now, my favorite romance author has very few pseudonyms. I think her real name is Jane N. Krentz, but she's also Jane Castle and Amanda Quick. I think she had an earlier pseudonym too, but I could be wrong. Like a much earlier one. She releases about 2 books a year, and I always order them. Nice. Sight unseen.
Okay, then. Yeah. I guess I'll ask Josh. Josh, what was your journey?
My name's Josh, and I had to walk away for a hot minute.
Oh, shoot. Oh,
Josh, shoot. Whoa, your voice sounds...
No, well, you know what? Josh will be the mysterious one that no one will be able to...
I'm going to take a guess. Mysterious one.
Hear me out. This is my...
Ooh,
I'm going to take a guess.
By this. Let's hear it.
I think that Josh's first kind of like... his first kind of like encounter with this kind of culture, there's a couple of things. I'm gonna go with magic.
Ooh.
No, I take that back. I take that. You know, I don't think it was magic. I don't think it was magic. Magic. Can we say like just video games in general? Because I think that,
well, that's like everyone though.
Yeah. So I guess if we have to say it, then I'm gonna say. Maybe Warhammer.
No, it was into Magic before Warhammer, I think.
Yeah, I like this concept.
My guess would be is like, I bet Josh. So when I met Josh, we went to college together. Like I remember that it was kind of it was weird because he lived across the hall and. We didn't really know each other, but like we would walk by each other's rooms and anime would be on. So it's one of like he would be watching anime, or I would be in my dorm watching Naruto because that's when I was trying to blaze through that like 400 episodes.
That was rough.
And like one day, I think he got up enough courage to come in and be like, "Yo, you watching anime?" And I'm like,
I love to think that like he's like a high school girl.
Yeah, sure. It's that romance
to talk to Bob right across the hall from me.
He wrote a note and he asked somebody to
and on it just said
to Bob. And
it says anime and then 2 boxes,
anime?
yes or no.
Yeah.
I would finesse.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. Jeez Louise. So it makes it, I think if I had to guess, I would say that it's like he could have started with anime, or he could have started with Star Wars. That would be my 2.
I mean, Star Wars, I think it's definitely like, I think that's a big one for a lot of people too. Like I remember like before I had even heard of it, this neighbor, like one of my neighbors growing up, he was the same age as me, and he was just like, telling me this story about this, like, I'm trying to figure out how he phrased it, but it was essentially like, I'm going to tell you about like this guy who like travels around in the ship, and he has a big like furry dog thing that like walks around with him with a big crossbow. And I was like, man, that sounds super weird. But and then my dad kind of overheard the conversation. He was like, are you talking about Star Wars? And he had also recorded VHS, and he had introduced it to me. And I think once I had seen it, like, I was like, oh, that's super cool. I'm nowhere near as fond of it as I am now, as I was at the beginning. In the beginning, it's like, this is super cool. But now I'm like, it's probably Besides Warhammer, it's probably the only other like book series that I really get into, or any of the.
So I feel,
and I'm the opposite. I have such reverence for the old stuff, and I think most of the new stuff is kind of whatever. I mean, I don't.
If we're talking about like movies, yes, I would agree. I'm not. But if we're talking about,
I think that. For me, I'm kind of in the middle. Like I don't have enough of like a real dog in the fight to like have a preference. But what I do remember is I had the triple stack of the VHF, and the thing is, like as a person, I'm messy, and as a kid, I was terribly messy. So like I would be watching like Disney VHSs and like just scaling them across the room, and. But those three, I knew that my dad valued it. I knew it. So I was like, I am going to treat these like they are made of glass. I am going to put them back in exactly the same place every time. My one meticulous thing. That is crazy.
Yeah. No, I get it. Absolutely. But
it's crazy because what's the joke about that? It's like the greatest value of all time. It's $20.
Yeah. So, but I think that kind of wraps up my question. And Tyler, what was the question that you had for this week?
All right. So actually, this I don't know what I don't know what I was going to say right there. So anyway, so we're all at one point or another we're super big World of Warcraft players.
Yeah.
My question is what's your fondest memory in the world of Azeroth?
Ooh, the fondest memory.
Yeah. So like, what's one moment that you're like, man, I remember like I had like it was super epic, or it was just super fun, or just like what's the time that really sticks out in your head playing?
So, why don't you start while I craft my answer?
For me, I mean. A lot. I think my fondest memory is probably actually just like several memories, but I just like the three of us hanging out at Mike's house and just playing until like the wee hours of the morning, like not leaving till like 5 a.m. Like my mom would be so pissed. She like coming in, like she'd be up and like I'd be walking through the door and she'd be like, "Oh, did you sleep at Mike's house?" And I was like, "We didn't do any sleeping."
Jeez. Very cool. No, I remember that, like where your like mind starts aching because you've just been, I don't know, playing 10 hours of World of Warcraft and you want it, like you just want to keep going. Yeah. What I would say is that there are two specific like areas that meant a lot to me, and the first was like the undead starting area. I was at Tristfall Glades, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And I remember just starting playing, and I was running around, like just, encountering mobs, trying to get a feel for it. And I felt like everything was huge. Like when you're a little kid and all the buildings are huge. Like I was like, this game is mental. And that's when it tied into the first dungeon, when Hilchi and I ran the first dungeon. And like you have to focus. And the second one would be probably when I did in Wrath, when the first time that I did what was the end raid in Wrath of the Lich King? I'm blanking. Is it?
Crown 10? No. I haven't played for years.
Tower, did you just say Crown Tundra Pokemon expansion?
You're right. Wow.
The first time I went into that raid, that blew my mind. I was like...
But hear me out, though. However, although it was wrong, it sounds right.
It does. It totally does. I assume you used your Pikachu.
I never did. I didn't really get into raiding until probably I want to say Mr. Pandaria. Like I really been raiding.
I've never been big into raiding.
But actually, just going back to I do have a actual moment that I remember just being like, and I will never forget this. So Burning Crusade had just came out. And so, like, at that point, I was like, well, I'm gonna make a blood elf. And I named it, I tried to name it Sephiroth, but I named it Sephrioth because Sephiroth had already been taken.
Yep.
On that server, in the starting area, was another blood elf whose name was Sephiroth.
That means that you probably got it just before you did.
It was just because it was in the starting area, and like we were like leveling up at like the same pace, and we kept kind of following each other around, and I was like, man, like how wild is that? Like somebody had the same kind of. I mean, it's not a super original thought. I mean, like they were super anime and super like edgelord. I don't know.
Yeah, they were very edgelord.
Well.
That's my axiom. However, that does not minimize the times that we were at your house, Mike. Those were still.
So, but the thing is that do you remember you playing Sephrioth and I was playing Canarel, and you'd be like, "Hey, let's duel," and I'd be like, "Okay, let's have a holy priest duel with a paladin. That's going to work for me every time." And like, we would play for hours, and every once in a while you'd be like, "Hey, let's duel." Like you just turned around and was like, "I want to beat the crap out of him right now." And I guess like, I was like, "Yeah, this time for sure. Like I'm totally going to do it this time." Absolute insanity.
But paladins were back then. Paladins were so broken.
Well, because I'd get you down and then you just bubble and full heal.
I bubble up and then I do lay of hands and be like, "Yep, full life again." And I mean, on top of that, it wasn't like I was some kind of glass cannon. Like I had plate armor, so I wasn't taking damage super quick. But nowadays, the last I remember, pallies were kind of whatever. Like they were good tanks for a while if you went prot, but. And I played that game for a while, like for like doing the tank thing, and like, it was fun. But then like I craved more of like damage, just doing that deep, like that high DPS. That was my goal after then. Yeah. I think between my Death Knight and I made a rogue as well, and I got that fixed. But then at the same time I was. Like 2 hits and I was down. Like maybe not with the Death Knight, but with the rogue. Like man, but I love the idea. I love rogues. I think they're like the coolest. I think they're just super cool. What about you, Mike?
Yeah. My specific memories are a little hazy because we played that so much. I think the one that sticks out to me that explains a bit about my personality is that I remember the first time the game told me I had too many characters, because I was always starting new characters on new servers just for fun, just because I think maybe I just like that rush of leveling up so fast and trying something you haven't tried or trying something you haven't tried in a while. Yeah, Fusk, everyone's favorite orc warrior. Which he had his name changed.
They don't know why.
It wasn't a swear thing. It was after my account got hacked, and like when I came back, they had like reset some stuff, and some of my characters just needed new names.
Blizzard changed his name.
I think during that time, maybe he was deleted, or I think I lost some characters, and I think when they restored stuff, that name would now be used by someone else.
That's character.
Yeah, but. Yeah, the other thing I remember is, sorry, it's not about you guys, it's about my dad. Back in the day, I would play for hours and hours and hours on end, and I would have a portable DVD player next to me with the Strong Bad email DVDs on them with the commentary on, and my dad hated the sound of Strong Bad talking. And it cracks me up to this day. I mean, I don't think I knew that at the time. I think this was a revelation later. And because my dad made some comment about that like awful voice or something, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And in retrospect, it's just so funny to me.
Torturing your dad
hear that like,
every day. Torture.
Yeah. Do you think your dad had to work up his courage to tell you that?
Maybe. I mean, he had no problem telling us like Magic and D&D were stupid. Not that it was stupid.
Yeah.
It said he didn't get it.
Oh,
and
sure.
I think that bothered him. But it was just real funny that he just like.
I have another one that I think I know Mike hated. Was
oh, let me hear it. I'm
day
intrigued.
Bob and I bought gold. you were so
yeah, I
mad.
did hate
Mike.
that.
You're like that's not
I was very
cheating.
mad.
We were like, oh, we just want money.
It's cheating.
I want to not suck at games.
We wanted that clout.
Yeah, I guess. I don't remember why you did it. Was it?
I think so.
Specific?
Money. I mean, that, like,
it wasn't it for mounts, which is like the worst. Like, and spiritually, it's like the worst reason.
it might have been. However, as a paladin, I got a free mount anyways.
Yeah, I feel like that was past the
Really?
point where
Yeah.
mounts weren't all that
I
expensive.
didn't think all that much. It's not
Yeah.
like we had a lot of money to roll around back then.
No, it was we were getting flying in Northrend.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I remember
Yeah.
that being a bunch of gold, and we were like, we can't afford this. Let's use real currency to buy fake currency.
You think about it. You think about it though. You spend
Yeah, I
money,
forgot all about
and
that.
but what do you get from spending that money? Something pleasurable. Something unless you're talking about bills, but you have to look farther than that to see the pleasure in that. You think of it like as a kid. Well, I worked at like a dairy farm over the summer and stuff like that. So you would be like, well, I have a little bit of money. How much pleasure can I get out of this money? 100%. And it was like, well, I play a ton of World of Warcraft, and that's pleasurable. So let's make it even better. It makes perfect sense.
No, I agree with you.
In retrospect, I don't exactly hate it. I felt, not only did I didn't like it at the time for, like, I thought you guys were cheating a little, but also I feel like an old guy, but there's a lot of risk to be giving these third-party people
It was
access to your information.
so sketchy. They were like, all right, you're gonna you're gonna go to like Agramar, and you're gonna hang out there, and then somebody's gonna private message you, and then you're gonna on the auction house, you're gonna put like some kind of like super common item, like a meat from a boar or something, and you're gonna put it for however much, like how much gold you bought. And I remember like us doing it, and it was taking a really long time. Like 45 minutes had gone by, and I was like, why haven't these people like messaged me yet? And I kept like harassing the gold people, and I was like, where's my gold? Like, I bought gold. Like, where? And I kept doing it over and over. And finally, they were like, we're in China. We're working as fast as we can. So, and in my mind, I'm like, what does that have to do with you logging onto your account?
So Tyler, does that mean that you have like really nothing has changed with you because you think of what you just did to what Target? That's kind of the same thing.
I am a very impatient person. Like when I get really worked up, like I become super impatient to the point like where like my wife is just like, I can't be around you. Like you're so obnoxious.
You don't say
Come on,
that.
you're not allowed to say that. You're supposed to say, Tyler, you are.
No, I meant.
That was just me being. I was pissed. I was just having a rough day. But you're supposed to say stuff like, Tyler, you're perfect.
A rough day.
Like,
I mean, Tyler, you're the best.
Every day should be a good day.
as for Josh, I guess we can do the same thing. Let's guess.
When he was let's see, what he would say. When I was my warlock.
I thought of one more. Sorry,
What?
Bob. There's one other thing I thought of. Just the introduction of the pandas.
Oh,
The introduction.
yeah.
Pandarians. Top notch, super cool. I think every single expansion should have a new race or a new class. I know they don't do that anymore as often, but I think that should.
It's been a hot minute for me, and I wonder, have they? If you choose to be a goblin, can you still be either Horde or Alliance?
No, Goblin are only Horde.
Really? I thought that they were something that could be both, but I guess I was wrong.
There's
I thought they could too.
I think it may be an allied race thing. I played Battle.
Because the lore is that they're the people, the Steam Zeppelin clan, right? Yeah,
right. But the same thing could go for the gnome.
Yeah.
Just the idea of they're kind of like I've always kind of like
bad.
Sorry,
I've always kind of put the.
No, sorry, I meant horde. There are horde gnomes.
I've always kind of put gnomes and goblins kind of in the same.
And Mike, how can you say horde is bad?
That wrong choice of words. I corrected myself.
I'm getting worked up. Now I'm getting worked up. I'm going to be super impatient.
I mean, I don't want to stereotype here, but I mean, it's like orcs and trolls and the undead. I mean, they paint themselves into a corner. I know they're not really bad, but they are painted into a bad corner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're just trying to be free. They're just trying to be independent.
Sadly, Bob, it's an image problem, and it's crappy. Crappy.
And I don't know, because if I was going to start again, I think I'd start a goblin.
I think I'd start something like that. I don't know what I'd do.
So, do you guys remember when you would be in the battleground and if you're in a PvP server, you would just be running around, I guess, and you would see like a gnome twink, like that's your level, but they've had previous like max level characters and have a bunch of money, and you're like, that gnome is gonna roll me hard right now. This gnome warrior is gonna destroy my life. There's nothing more infuriating than that. Just like continuing getting beat on by a gnome.
You see a gnome and you're like, oh, it's just a gnome. And then you see the sword made of blue energy, and you're like, oh no.
You are finding out where I'm safe in town today. Like, I'm just going to do small tasks.
No, you don't want to be Dunyan rings.
Yeah. You don't want to be Dunyan rings with those.
No.
Those gnomes. All right, so we're going to guess what Cleve's is memories of World War Warcraft.
No, okay.
I'm not gonna say it because I'm not gonna say it, but I wanna say the thing that I did, but say Josh did it in the Undercity.
No. No.
Let's not
you
bring that
incriminated
up.
yourself. No.
That's why I'm not saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying.
So I know that Cleves, for the majority, played a warlock, so we can narrow it down to him doing warlock things, which, I mean,
the same was Halifax.
Halifax, yeah, that is true.
The place in Canada.
I suspect what he remembers. I'm going to say he was on an RP server and he summoned his succubus and he went into an inn.
Damn.
Yeah. ...
And he made some soul stones.
Yeah, I
remember there was a day. I think it was the first time I played with Josh. I can't remember if you were there, Mike, but Bob, Josh, and I, and maybe like a couple other people, we ran. Oh, it was that dungeon that's in. What the hell is it called? It's in the desert area. Why can't I think of what it's called? It's like, I think it's very troll based.
Okay, I remember running
Zul'Farrak, right?
Was it Zul'Farrak?
I thought so.
I think that's the raid.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're right. No, Bob's right. It's Zul'Farrak. I just looked it up.
See, well, I pulled that one. I pulled it. Wow. Yeah, well, because Tyler's imagery was leading me back to that place. Like,
how many old dungeons still exist?
Yeah.
Are all of them still there?
I think that they definitely changed stuff. Just to kind of fit not necessarily fit the lore and stuff, but
yeah. No. So, and the thing is, with warlocks, I always thought the imp was the best pet.
I was always a void walker.
That's a good one.
Really?
Yeah. I think I used the tank void walker.
I mean, the imp was. I loved the imp like early on because you were just like, it was just like bam, bam, bam. Oh, I just everything.
Yeah, the problem I always had was the imp. He seemed to run out of MP so fast.
You got to train your imp.
and then he can do nothing. Yeah, I guess so. Wait, do they still have that? You still train your imp?
Oh yeah.
I think you just automatically. I think they just get.
Yeah.
I think they just.
I don't know enough about anything anymore.
Yeah, sadly, me neither. I would love to, but I have a very old computer.
That would be my answer for Josh. Hanging out with the succubus, and then I guess using his bold blood elf body.
Yeah. Those were the best. We all had a blood elf. We were all blood elves.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Everybody had a blood elf. Yeah.
Speaking of Josh, I think he's fallen into the void.
We're cool.
I don't think he's coming back today.
I think so too.
But don't worry, everyone.
Probably not.
The thing is that I kind of like. I want him back, but at the same time, what if we just had like a fourth party member that we really wasn't involved, but we just continue to talk about him and in his perspective? That's
as an idea, Bob. If the next time we record, maybe we'll have him. Like before we start our
that's
topics,
a good idea.
We'll ask him how to interpret.
That would require him to do work too, because he'd have to listen to this prior. Because we're not going to tell him.
We're taking over his life. Let's go.
I mean, we might.
Oh well, no, we should remember, but we're not telling him.
Oh, like he'll tell us his memory, but then he'll have to tell us what
right. Yeah, well, no, I just
the memory would be.
Josh is known for like cheating, so like.
Whoa!
I remember him when he used to cheat on tests all the time.
Yeah, he also used to buy.
Actually, I don't think. I see what you did there.
Yeah, and then he would give it to his friends, but it's still.
But okay, so. No, I can't defend that. I can't defend that sort of behavior. Nope.
Yeah. Cheating in World of Warcraft?
In general?
I know.
Oh, okay.
Bob and I have never cheated on anything ever.
Now. That's true. That is correct. That's what I've been told. I actually wanted Josh here for this subject because I think it impacts him. Actually, this is my second topic because my original was very close to Bob's, but I was going to discuss, or I want to discuss with you guys let's call it Next Gen Watch, where we'll be discussing the issues with people other than ourselves or some of us that are trying to get PlayStation 5s or Xbox Series X's or S's. Okay. So I read some news that apparently, of course, there's the obvious scalper problem where there are all kinds of scalpers that are charging like at least double. But there's a new one today that I found out about that Walmart, I think it's specifically Walmart, people are getting their package that's supposed to have a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X in it, and it's got just different stuff in the box. Like someone took that box and then put a different box in its place. And the one I saw today on the news was somebody just opened up a big old box and there was just a Nerf gun in it. And apparently these people have been contacted and they're getting replacement systems. But kind of wanted you guys' take on. Yeah. I mean, Bob, are you trying to get a system? Yeah. Are you trying? What are you going for?
Not the hex box.
Yeah, I was planning. So here's my idea.
Yes, Tyler. We know you're.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a gaming PC almost immediately, and then once I get my tax returns, like mid next year, whenever I get them back, then I will like PS5s by then should be readily available. So
absolutely, I would hope so.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, because I know I got mine. I was I'm not trying to brag, but I literally got mine day one. Though I was very
right. Mike, you can just bust through the room and flex on people. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, but we have our buddy Tyler here, and he has a slightly different.
Tyler, do you want to retell the story?
This was hell. Like, okay, so let's start from the beginning. So I remember, so when the whole pre-order fiasco started, I think a lot of people were like, I'm not going to get one. Like, it's whatever. I'll try whenever. I'm not like, I'm frustrated about it, but whatever. It's not a big deal. I had talked to a buddy who had, for whatever reason, just like been up like super late and was just like, yo, I got my PS5 pre-order. And I was like, oh, rad. I'm jealous, but that's rad. And he's like, oh, I'll keep an eye out for you. And I was like, well, whatever. It's probably not going to happen, but thanks. I appreciate it. Not like 20 minutes later did he text me and was like, yo, Target, like a bunch of people, like they dropped a bunch of pre-orders because of like declined cards or whatever. Like, get on that now. And so, like, I got on my computer, did it super, super fast, got it, and then immediately tried to get another one because I knew Mike was looking. And so I was like, oh, well, like, if I got it, like, they were sold out by that point. So
I still feel bad because that was like halfway through day one, and I had already tried a bunch of other places, and I think I took my watch off, so I wasn't.
Yeah, like I texted you like a million. It was like, Mike, go on, but it wouldn't have mattered anyways because I'm pretty sure I got like the last one. So, so I had gone through that and that was fine. So, I have I check the Target, like I'm stupid, but I check the Target thing like every day pretty much for like the next couple like months and nothing changed.
I mean, I did the same
thing. Is like I knew nothing was going to change, so whatever. But so finally, it gets to the point. It's getting closer, and it's just like, okay, it's going to get there between the 13th and the 18th. Great, hey, great, that's awesome. I'm stoked. That week, so Monday, it changed to preparing to ship. Right on. Like I'm feeling really good about it. I could get this first day. Launch day comes, and it still says preparing to ship. So it's that Thursday. So 4 days have gone by, and it's still saying preparing to ship. And I was like, you know what? I'm sure it'll ship tomorrow. I didn't think I was going to get it, launch day. I would have liked to, but yeah, no, I knew, but it's just in my mind. Like I didn't think I was going to get it launch day. Like it would have been a nice surprise, but I didn't think that. And so, and I didn't get whatever. Friday comes and it still has not shipped yet. It still says preparing to ship. So this entire week it is just nonstop. So like just changed to like it has not changed from preparing to ship. This point is really stressing me out. So like I kind of reached out on like Twitter and stuff, and I was like, hey, like is anybody else having this problem? And I talked to this guy. I can't remember. It's a YouTuber, I can't remember his name, but he was just like, yeah, I have the same issue. Like, I haven't got mine yet. It still says preparing to ship. And then, like, an hour later, he's like, oh, yo, mine just shipped. And I was like, oh, cool, great. So, like, maybe mine will ship soon. Later that night, probably around, like, 9 o'clock, it says it shipped. Awesome. I'm stoked. Like, I could get it this weekend. Great. From Friday night to Monday, it just says label being prepared. And I'm just like in my mind, I was like,
oh no, I didn't remember that part.
That's a long label. That is like,
whew, what I want to know, FedEx, how long does it take to make a label to put on a package and get that package rolling?
Oh, I don't think that's a FedEx.
Whoever makes the label, I want to know. I don't know if somebody in that department will like end up listening to this and be like, oh yeah, that was me. And then no. Okay. Anyways, back to so Monday comes and it says that it's been shipped or it's left the facility. And I'm like, great. This thing was like first thing in the morning. It's got all day to travel. It's going to make a big dent. Yeah. God, I'm getting pissed just thinking about it. 16 hours later, it says that it went 30 minutes. It drove. I looked it up. I looked up the two locations, and they're 30 minutes apart.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Like, what is going on with this? No. And I know in like the mix, I sound like a spoiled asshole, and I'm not trying to. But during this time, what you have to remember is that like a lot of people's PS5s were getting stolen from the people delivering it. And so that was stressing me out because I was like, man, I paid a lot of money. It has that money has left my account Like the way this is traveling is really weird. Like it's and I know like COVID's going on. I know like there's a bunch of stuff that's kind of messing with the mail system, but this just something doesn't seem right. And so finally, after the next couple of days, it says like it's coming. All during this time, I'm like talking to FedEx and Target, like, where's my package? And Target is like, they are dead set on telling me, listen, your package will either A, get there when it gets there, or B, it will be there by the 18th, no matter what, we promise. And
No, they didn't. No, that's not how it went down. Tell the real story, Tyler.
No, I'm getting to, this entire time, I'm just being like an asshole. Like, I'm not going to say harassing them, but I like on a daily basis, like several times a day, just be like, where's my package? Like, you need to promise me that it is coming this day.
You made Target promise.
And they're just, and these poor Target people are like, we don't know what to tell you. Like, we can't, like, one guy was just like, I assure you that it will be there the 18th. And at that point, I got him hooked, and I was like, all right, then tell me, if you know that it's coming the 18th, you must know where it is then. So where's my package? You know, like Alex from Target, like, tell me. And he was just like, Tyler, your package will be the 18th. And then like immediately cut off the chat. He's like, I'm not dealing with this anymore.
Holy shit. Dude, and so, you know he went home and was like, oh, today was a day. That guy.
I don't feel like I made anyone like cry because it wasn't that bad. Like, I was definitely one of those, like I was a Karen for a little while, and that made me.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, I know I was a bit of a pest the couple of days before because mine wasn't moving.
See, there's a stress attached to it.
And, yeah, but the crummy part is I think because I made a pest of myself days before.
But here's the thing.
I think that's why
I eventually did get it. Great. Yeah, but here's the deal. Here's the deal, though.
I know.
Ask me what day I got it on. At the number day that I got it.
Tyler, what number day did you get it?
Not the 18th, the 19th. So
are you filing legal action because they didn't keep their promise?
And I kind of was expressing the story, like I was telling them the story and kind of expressing like, this is what's going on. Like, I'm getting really frustrated. And a lot of them were like, you need to like demand some kind of compensation. And that just fueled the fire. I was like, you're right. Like, and so I talked to this guy and I'm like, this is unacceptable. Like, I demand some form of compensation for this. Like, I don't even know what I like.
Keep a promise, man.
I need, right. And they were like, listen, if it doesn't come by the 19th, we will give you compensation. And I was like, I have screenshotted you saying that. I will absolutely be doing that if it is not here on the 19th. It came the 19th, and that's great. But so, I don't know. It was a long story. Like, it was a long road. It got there, and I'm super happy. Like, I don't think I've ever been more happy with a console before.
No,
like it's amazing, and I love it. Like, I picked it up and was like, this is fucking
right out of the box. Yeah, it's great.
You know, if your console's heavy, you know it's gonna be good.
Listen, how Tyler said that made me 100% confident it was the truth.
Tyler, I don't know if I told you this. So I think you knew that the game I also ordered was like a day or two late. I contacted them.
Yeah.
I think that Friday, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I mean, I won't deny I was a lot nicer about it than your story was about you. But the first guy I talked to was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. We're gonna take 5% off."
Like, I went in not heated at all. I was just like, "Hey, like, can you just kind of give me an idea of where it is?" Like, just kind of concerned. And they took me for a fool. They were just like, yeah, it's going to be here the 18th.
Yeah.
From the get-go, and I was like, listen, guys, that's fine. Like, here's the deal. I don't care. I don't care if they said it was coming the 18th. That's fine. That is not the problem. The problem is that they are giving me this information, but they don't know anything. They're basing this purely off of the text that I know I can read. I know I can read and say that it's coming the 18th, but they must have some form of, like, some kind of information that says your package is here, and then use some kind of estimation based on the years that they've probably been working with Target to give me a better answer than the thing that I can fucking read.
Where's the metadata at, right?
We're gonna know those. I'm heated.
Yeah.
I'm heated.
Sure. Tyler, sorry I made you so angry by bringing this up.
I'm still mad. Scalpers make me mad. I think this is like, okay,
yeah. Oh, the other thing I wanted to bring up about them, people have been calling them out, and now they're acting like the wounded party, like, oh, we're just trying to help, make a huge profit on stuff to support our families.
You scalpers want to know something?
So sad.
Get a job. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, no. Think about it. Think about, like, it is a job.
Okay, maybe not. But
yeah,
it depends.
Kind of.
Okay, but here's the thing. So, so I'm a teacher, and I have kids who, like, their parents have been, like, trying really, like, I've had parents reach out to me and, like, oh, did you get, like, I'm trying to get so and so one for, like, and I can't find one, and kids are like, not in a sport, like, they're just they're super upset about it. They're like, man, that sucks. Like, I want one. Like, what? So they're like, these kids. So these kids are not getting, like, and again, like, and I don't want to give the idea that these kids are spoiled, because they're not. Like, Waldoboro is not a rich area. So I'm not going to say, like, all my kids are, like, poverty stricken, but at the same time, like, we're not. This is not.
What in the world are you getting at?
But we're also not, like, we're not. There's not a lot of money, so I think these kids, like, when they are looking for that stuff, like, it kind of goes back to that idea of kind of escaping reality. And
yeah, no, I get it. But I guess one of my other points was that these people this wasn't their original thing. These sites and these scalpers, they had a different racket before, and I think they stepped into it by accident by trying to get in on this new console generation. They'd made all this software to, like, buy out, like, rare shoes and stuff, and now they come into this whole other situation. And I've heard there was also some stories about, like, 1,000 orders were canceled recently that were attributed to scalpers. So I like the fact that somebody is trying to stop them, but most of the big companies don't care as long as they get paid.
And then that's you think of, like, how does the world deal with that? We think, well, then let's just, like, have those sites die out and create new sites that have software built in to make sure that you can't bot buy and do stuff like that. Like,
I mean, I would hope. Yeah, I mean, as simple. I heard one argument basically was just like, every stupid site on the internet requires a CAPTCHA, but Walmart doesn't. Just have us prove we're not a robot.
Yeah,
the same as everybody else. Why are you not doing this? But it's so weird that they're, I mean, I don't really blame the retailers, because they didn't make their software thinking about that, and I mean, it's not fair for them. But then again, these scalpers that literally have software with the express intent of screwing other people over to make more money, it's just terrible. Yeah. And the fact that they even try to defend themselves is so scummy. I mean, there have been some that are super open about it and, like, F you, I'm doing this, deal with it. But then there are the ones that are literally trying to defend themselves, that it's like, you guys are scumbags. I mean, I mean, good for you, making a whole lot of money, I guess, but don't act like you're doing it altruistically. Right. Mm-hmm. You are in it for a buck, pure and simple. No, something tells. I mean, maybe they are because everybody pretty much.
I'm a
the
gamer.
entire world
I
plays video games to some
Mountain
degree.
Dew. I drink
But,
Game Fuel a lot.
Yes, Howard. Howard does drink Game Fuel,
But hashtag
not an ad, hashtag not
maybe
an
an
ad.
ad.
But boy, we would love it if it was.
You quit soda? That's a good.
I mean, even though I quit soda.
Well,
So,
but here's the thing.
yeah. Yep.
But here's the thing, Mike.
Nine
Is
months
Game Fuel really a
sober.
soda, or is it just a way of thinking?
It's just nourishing your body. It's nourishing.
It has.
Okay, well that.
Howard,
It does have caffeine in
I
it,
quit.
so
I quit caffeine.
But when you drink it,
and Game Fuel definitely is a form of soda.
you feel like a gamer. I'm a gamer.
I mean, I don't know. Not to bring up this subject. The title of gamer
again, back to the teaching. So like my kids, a lot of my students, they use I'm a gamer, and so recently I've been drinking Game Fuel like in the classroom, and then we're like, hey guys, does this make me a gamer? Am I a gamer? And they were like, oh, that doesn't make you a gamer. And I was like, this is Game Fuel. Only a gamer would be drinking this so I could fuel myself so I can game some more, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you say bro?
I don't know if you're familiar with Mr. Beast. Like he has these stupid, like he has this thing where it's like
vaguely,
bro.
No, not a clue.
And I have that like on like a soundbite on the computer, and I'll just play that. I'm trying to be like a really hip influencer teacher within the classroom. It's working.
Well, yeah. If you think about it, if basically what you're doing is you're inspiring these kids to want to learn, right? And like you're the.
I'm like, hey guys.
Oh, and like to hype them up, to get them inspired, and you're speaking to them directly.
I did.
You're speaking to the gamers directly, my guy.
Today, not today. So today, I had one kid who he normally comes in every day. He didn't come in today. He, for whatever reason, thought that they didn't come in on Wednesdays. There was kind of a thing with our school where like that was happening, but for the past couple of weeks it hasn't. So there was just some confusion there, whatever. So he has study hall first period. And so later that afternoon, I was like, bud, let's have a Google Meet at like noon. Let's talk. Like, I just need to talk to you about some stuff. And he was like, oh, okay. So he was like, am I in trouble? And I was like, listen, I hacked into your computer. First period when you had study hall, and I remember he's been playing Dying Light a lot.
Yeah.
So I was like, I saw you playing Dying Light this morning after I hacked into your computer and into your camera. Don't ever do that again when you have study hall. He got real quiet for a second. He's just like, how did you know that I was doing that? I told you.
I read your personality.
I said, do you know what they used to call me in high school? And he said, no, what? They used to call me Elite Hacker Gamer 2020.
Yeah.
And he was just like, and like he was just speechless for a second. I was like, you ever seen the movie Hackers? And Angelina Jolie? That movie's based on me. I don't know if that's how that was taken, but like that's what was said. So,
Yeah.
I feel like maybe we're getting to a close. Yeah. So, I think we're winding down, but before we do, I have a two-part end of the night knee-jerk question for the both of you, and I'll include myself.
Okay.
Yourself and you're young.
There.
This is the first part of the question. You got to be young.
Leo.
Who was
Hands
your
down,
turtle?
Donatello. Yeah.
I'm with Bob on this, Donatello. Now, part two. You can be a kid again, still or not? Or you can
Out of
be an
all of
adult.
them, Raph.
Who's the most dangerous?
No, I think Leo.
Yes. Now this time I'm going with Tyler. Raph is my knee jerk. I think. I don't think
Okay. The thing with Raph though is that like he has that outward, like, brash personality. But like in every iteration of the TMNT, they've always shown his soft side, his like really morally just side. That like, yeah, he's the roughest around the edges, but he's always the one like putting his team first, doing all of the big things. He has those breakout moments, which is why Raph is so good. But
the thing is that all of
them. So that's like, his positive side. Why I say Leonardo is because Leonardo is the leader. He's like always the one that wants to be the best, do the most. And I think that means that in a situation where, like, if TMNT is about to go down, if one of the turtles don't kill like a person or whatever, then it's going to be Leo that says, I'm going to take control. This burden's going to be on me. And I have 2 katanas, so I'm just going to kill this person. And then we'll have to suffer the consequences. Like, I feel like...
All right, Bob, I appreciate
I can't help myself. I can't help
me jerk, but I appreciate it. can't let it go. Well, this has been Swing for
Bob
Four. I'm Michael Ferrier at MF Parade, joined by
Tyler Hilchey, social media unknown,
and it's me, John. All right, I don't remember my email or whatever.
I'm the real Josh, and my email is elitehackergamer2020 at hotmail.com.
Oh, good a Hotmail. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Hopefully we'll do this next week. And if there are any listeners, thanks for sticking with us. Bye.